the archetypal Australian man. He's stubbled, he's a maker, a farmer, a builder, and he dresses in clothing that befits that kind of work. But the Aussie man in 2017 is also creative, individual, he's international, and increasingly, he's interested in what he chooses to wear in order to show it. I want to know how these ideas, old and new, combine.
Continuity, check, continuity. We're back.
My name's Adam Baidawi, and I'm a writer for GQ Australia. I've always been interested in style, especially the big ticket names I grew up looking at in the pages of GQ. But I'm also interested in the rise of Aussie design and where it comes from, because even though we might not be the most fashion forward of nations, we do have something pretty unique about us.
People really want to understand how to make things again.
I make one garment per size, per fabric.
What I do is sell things that fit into people's lives perfectly.
Sure, Australia doesn't have the sartorial heritage of London or the leather-making history of Milan or the chicness of Paris when it comes to men's fashion, but what it does have is simplicity, functionality. I want to know if this obsession with making has influenced how we dress, so I went to see Sydney-based shoemaker Andrew McDonald to talk about men making things.
The first thing I think of is that, this kind of the iconic, rugged individual. They work on the land or they work in the city, but they need something that's tough, durable and rugged. And that really informs the way, clothing is built and made and what people want to wear. Culturally, we've always been interested in making things, and it's been a can do. Let's make it, let's see how it goes.
And understanding how the things that they wear are made.
That relationship really helps inform people about what they're getting, but it also adds value because there's nothing worse than just getting a sneaker and going, well, it might be a special edition, but it's still made by a machine and it's not built to last, it's not sustainable, and there's no sort of inherent personality in the product. When I make a pair of shoes, I make this shoe and it's a great thing, but it's kind of inert until I get someone that comes along and their personality jumps into the shoes and then it turns it into something else.
Who do you think your typical male customer is?
Well, they tend to be someone who recognises quality, has an interest in craft, they're prepared to pay for it. So they want something that's unique.
Trained in the UK under luxury bootmaker John Lobb, Andrew's workshop in the Strand Arcade in Sydney is actually only a stone's throw away from Lobb's first store in George Street back in 1866.
He came over, emigrated to Australia.
Like his first
store. He basically started making boots for the gold miners and, boots with secret compartments to hide your gold.
Right, so it's kind of a British technique invented in Australia for, workmanship, right?
That's right.
Wow. So I guess if you're talking about functionality and practicality being woven into Aussie style culture, it kind of started there?
That's right,
wow.
Did, yeah.
So Australia is obsessed with craft, but what we really mean by craft is properly made. It's what our mate, bombastic designer Ian Nessick, calls proper clothes. He might be a Brit, but we won't hold that against him.
If you go right back, I've only been here since '84, and pretty much, King G and sort of Bonds and all these things were more or less uniform in this country. And I think that Gowings, which is now gone, was this sort of menswear store, which I'd never seen anything like it until we arrived in Australia, because it was a 5-floor mecca of Australian workwear / bush / leading towards R.M. Williams sort of wear. That, then you had a silhouette that made total sense from Comme des Garçons and Yohji Yamamoto in the 80s, which was a completely loose-fitting silhouette. Everyone was wearing clothes about 5 times the size that you'd fit now.
Okay, so maybe talk us a little bit through choosing fabrications here, because you can see just from piece to piece to piece, I mean, here you got 3 completely different feels, textures.
What I really have championed is just consistent, small amounts of things coming in, all locally made to a very high level, and we have brilliant manufacturing in this country. It is shockingly expensive, but it's worth it. And I'm really into marrying different fabrics So the whole garment has personality. This is local production, there you go. Even my pockets and the interiors are lined.
So how many people are involved with the designing and the crafting?
Me and then one other.
If there was one thing, something that's really specific and unique about Australian men's style?
At the moment, a lot of it isn't blokey, whereas here we're blokes. And I'm talking about your big, high-end, as much as you can spend labels, right through to the high street one. They actually go to the pub with their mates. There's just a bloke thing that is missing. We are gentlemen, but we're not gentlemen. Do you know?
We're not gentle men.
Exactly.
So it's hot for the most part, and we don't like formality, but we do like things that are made well. Sure, I can get on board with that. But how does that translate to a younger, fresher sense of street style? If classically constructed yet casual garments are having a style moment in Australia, and young designers are turning to artisanal processes to make menswear, then I need to go to Melbourne and speak to another expat Brit, one Christian Kimber, friend of GQ and a kind of love child of Orson Welles and Woody Allen.
Australian men, in my experience of being here, they don't want to dress smart. They want to be casual and comfortable. Sure, they don't want to look like
They're trying
too hard, but at the same
Right.
time, they want something which is beautiful and something that's well made and thoughtful.
You see Melbourne kind of shaping up in a similar way to any cities back home.
Yeah, so like compared to London, it's so different because there's so much more competition and fashion is so big there. We're a smaller market, but we still have all the luxury brands here. But I think now, like the UK, there's this like resurgence of small young designers and really trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
People who have, I guess, a point of view like I do.
Absolutely. Obviously, you're best known for sneakers to this point.
Yeah.
But you come at it from kind of a craftsmanship perspective. You source your leather from Italy. Can you talk a little bit about balancing those tensions between traditionalism, quality and craftsmanship, and something that is really modern and forward-thinking style-wise?
We've got one called the Byron, which is I sketched in Byron Bay. Something very casual, something that people actually want to wear. But it's taking elements of what I love from Italy and bringing that with this lifestyle that I fell in love with in Australia, and combining those two things, I think makes something quite unique. I don't think I have a fashion business. I think what I do is sell things that fit into people's lives perfectly.
Designers like Kimber are bringing two pre-existing concepts together to give people a new perspective, to create something that says something about them, about the city they live in, about the life they lead, the job they have, the values they hold. From bespoke shoes made with sweat and a hammer, to one-off deconstructed blazers befitting of the climate, to expat Australian-designed Italian-made sneakers. Yeah, this country does have style. It's just a little rough around the edges, and that's just the way we like it.